Before we get into Trevor's trivia, though, we got to talk about this rant from Rebecca Menick. She posted, she's an FPO player, semi on tour. She's actually, I think, semi local to us, but it was a 10-minute long rant on Instagram. I watched it this morning, so I can kind of fill you in on what she says, but she explains most of it in the caption that I'm about to read. So, her Instagram handle is AceBaby, if you want to see it for yourself.
Thank you.
Disc Golf Pro Tour. This is complete BS. I shouldn't have to deal with this crap. Poop emoji at Disc Golf Pro Tour. Sigh emoji.
Amen.
There you go. I should be able to have as much time to warm up at the course as needed. Either let the players with super early tee times park at the course, which would be the most reasonable option, or at the very least have the shuttle running much earlier so anyone who wants to more than 45 minutes at the course to warm up can do so. And no, it's not the same as trying to warm up somewhere else, getting cold, being shuttled to the course, and then having less than an hour to prepare for my/our tee time. Especially considering what happened at Texas State when the PDGA staff member Bill Newman made it pretty clear that he wanted to get players stroked by not even allowing the announcer to call me over when I had been right by hole 1 for over 20 minutes. Therefore, I plan to be on top of the hole 1 at least 10 to 15 minutes early every time, just so the PDGA doesn't try to stroke me for being quote-unquote late, which of course takes time away from my warm-up. Kind of makes it seem like they want to give out stroke penalties. Obviously, Bill doesn't speak for the entire PDGA, but he was there as the PDGA marshal who represents the PDGA. So just another thing making it more difficult on me, a player, and taking away my warm-up and practice time, which makes a huge difference when you're teeing off at 7:22 a.m., moved to 7:34 a.m. last minute.
So she had 45 minutes to warm up on the course.
Yes.
So my starting opinion is, yes, should everybody in theory have... Well, so whenever you're the first tee time, you're never going to have the same amount of time to warm up as everybody else, because that's just like, at some point, it's going to be dark outside. At some point, they have to open things up. So it has to be established what is an adequate amount of time to warm up on the course. I think the biggest issue with her qualm is that most people would agree that 45 minutes is a plenty of time to warm up on the course.
Well, it actually ends up being...
So first off, that's my starting point, I guess.
I don't know... She's explained, but I don't know fully, because most of this post was about the shuttle thing, and she threw in kind of what happened last week.
Okay.
I don't know fully, because that whole situation seems to be completely different
I don't really care about
from
that
this.
one.
That situation, it sounds kind of messed up, but you're only hearing one side, so I have no idea. This situation, she explained the details, and she's very upset about it. And I understand why she's upset. I just disagree at the end of the day. Because if I'm the Pro Tour, right, my first tee time, 7:22 a.m., the shuttle, she's the one who I got this information from on her post. The shuttle ran an hour early. Like, that seems very reasonable. If I'm the Pro Tour, and I probably have a volunteer running the shuttle, if the first tee time 7:22, having the shuttle run an hour early for what she claims is a 5 to 10 minute drive to the course.
That's what I'm saying. If she had been like, I only had 15, 20 minutes to warm up, I'd be like, that's messed up. 45 minutes is a long time to warm up on the course.
Well, because I also feel like if you're logistically looking at this on a paper and you asked me without seeing this, like, first tee time 7:22, what time should the first shuttle run? I'd be like, well, ideally an hour before would be the first shot. I was trying to think through this because I ran a marathon
there's not even daylight.
Yeah, I ran a marathon back in January. Okay, and the start time for that marathon was like 5:15. I'm pretty positive and it was about a 10-minute shuttle at Disney. I'm pretty positive the shuttle started running an hour, maybe an hour and a half beforehand.
Well, like I said, it can only get so early.
Well, you can only warm up so much.
Yeah.
Is the other thing.
That's my biggest thing. Is like, I get everybody has different warm up preferences, but 45 minutes on the course is
and
plenty of time.
There was 2 pros that chimed in here. I'll read these in a second, but one important note to make note of is where they had this player parking, they provided ample space to warm up there.
That's also what I heard. So, like, people were saying, like, okay, you could have warmed up, taken a 10-minute shuttle ride, and then continue warming up. Like,
yeah, I don't think
you're not going to get ice cold.
You're not going to get cold in 10 minutes. If this was a 30-minute shuttle, fully agree. But my problem is, like, at what point is it, like, now you're asking a volunteer, because there was really no sympathy shown to the shuttle driver in the post, and, like, I almost guarantee he was a volunteer or she was a volunteer, and like I'm gonna ask them to show, like, if they would have shown up legitimately at 5:30, so you had 2 hours before the first tee time, there wouldn't have been anyone on that first shuttle, maybe one player, but like the most players on that 7:22 tee time is 4, so like I don't know, giving them an hour seems plenty to me, and it just didn't really.
Well, and here's the thing: after round 1, I know a pretty good way to not have an early tee time.
This was round 1, to be fair.
I know. I said after,
but
round 1.
She did DNF after round 1 as well. So I don't know if she got injured. I don't know what happened after that. But
I'm not gonna make fun of her.
But yeah. Anyways, this was round 1. Holly Finley chimed in. Early tee times get a short window of light to warm up. We often stretch and stuff in the dark. With our growing field of women, we are running out of daylight hours to compete when grouped with the men on tour. It's a great thing. Growing pains. This sort of public blast to the powers that give us these platforms to perform on might not be the best method. A private discussion amongst the group Holland mentioned is a perfect first step. "Quote unquote," just keep serving.
I think that's a pretty mature response because it's like, yeah, this is the reason your tee times are so early is because you're being grouped in with the men's game, and a large part of that is how you're able to have this tour. Yep. Like, if they were to separate the tours or separate the courses, a lot of things would change very drastically. So I think that's a pretty reasonable response.
And then
Holly Finley.
Holland Handley said, "Totally understand your frustration, especially with the 2-stroke penalty and the lack of clarity about what counted as the quote-unquote starting area at Texas State's. Also, totally fair you want a full hour to warm up in the warm-up area. I'm always a little anxious about shuttles as well. However, we had the shuttle scheduled 3 days early, and there's plenty of space at the player lot to stretch and throw while you wait for the shuttle. Lastly, the Pro Tour has provided a place to discuss issues amongst players and staff and provide feedback, and they always do their best to accommodate us. It's the DGPT players page on Facebook. Tag Phil Delonye and Evan Shaper. She definitely misspelled this guy's last name, but Evan something. Those are the guys with the power to make changes to the shuttle and to standardize the application of the new 5-minute rule."
That's a reasonable response.
Your first result is like going and blasting on social media. Probably not the way
She
to
did
go.
say in the video that she had talked to 2 Pro Tour staffers at the course and then a third, but this video was posted, I think, immediately after. I don't think she gave them a chance to.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
The thing is,
We were just tagging this a bunch is the whole reason I brought
I
it up.
don't know a lot about this, but everybody on Reddit was saying that this is pretty much a bi-weekly occurrence from this player.
Oh, I have no idea.
That's everybody was saying.
This is the first one I've been tagged.
Everybody
and
was
sent a
saying that
bunch.
this is basically like this happens every single week, basically. So
this
I'm not finding. I look for the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not finding
that
anything
was
to
what
sympathize with.
I went
here.
into this of like, okay, a player got screwed over. Let's hear it out. But then as the details start coming, I'm like, I mean, if I was a tournament director, I'm making the exact same decision. Like an hour, I'm saying 5 minutes away for player parking. I'm going out of my way to provide a shuttle an hour before the first tee time. Like, that just sounds right.
Because you don't need to go out there and take notes on the course because you should have already been practicing on the course.
Well, you also, like, you can't really warm up on the course.
Yeah. So like,
just,
so
you can warm up at the course, but like, again, if it was a 20-minute shuttle,
5 or 10 minutes away, that just doesn't.
If
make
it was a
any
20-minute
sense.
shuttle, and there are genuine concerns then of like, why even warm up? I'm gonna get cold sitting for 20 minutes. Then sure, let's make sure we run. But you're not getting cold in 5 minutes.
No.
Like you warm up and you're gonna be still. Maybe you just hit another stretch as soon as you get there to make sure your body's good to go. But then you got 55 minutes.
Hit him with it, Hunt.
So I don't know. That one didn't land on me. I wish I could have. I wish I could have gotten in the corner with you, Rebecca. Picked up some pitchforks.
Yeah, listen,
and
I'll take
had
a side,
good time.
man.
But
well, that's what at first whenever you were reading it, I felt like I was definitely siding with her, but then I just started thinking more about the actual numbers that she was putting out, and that was 45 minutes and 5 or 10 minutes away.
The 45 minutes is contingent on it being 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes, and they pushed her tee time back 10 minutes, which would have made that be 55 minutes, even with all those grouping.
So I care about.
Yeah, I want to be there. I'm like,
I care about what they care about, but also at the same time they just it seems kind of fair.
Exactly. I'm like.